Somewhere in the shadow of a Baltic castle, a knight in white robes and the black cross carried a name that still walks the earth today. He crossed the Vistula River in armor. He knelt before a Holy Roman Emperor. He may have died beneath the walls of Malbork, and that name may already be stitched into your own family tree without you knowing it. In the next 20 minutes, you will hear 15 Teutonic surnames that historians have traced back to warrior nobility. Stay until number 1, because that final name is the most powerful name in 7 centuries of Teutonic history. This list is not romantic guesswork. Each surname is anchored in medieval chronicles, in the Golden Bull of Rimini, in the annals of Jan Długosz, and in the death rolls kept by the scribes of Marienburg Castle. Brace yourself. Your name may be older than your country. Number 15. The surname Balk, also spelled Balki, traces its origin to Lower Saxony in the North German plain, where the word itself once described a wooden beam or a ridge of raised earth used to mark noble land holdings. But the reason this name enters the story of Teutonic nobility begins with one specific man. In the year 1230, Grand Master Hermann von Salza chose a knight named Herman Balk to lead the first true conquest of pagan Prussia. Balk crossed the Vistula River with a small brotherhood of Teutonic knights, planted timber fortresses at Thorn and Kulm, and became the first Landmeister of Prussia, the first provincial ruler of the entire eastern Baltic frontier. Historians have called him the Pizarro of the Baltic lands. In 1233, Balk and Salza together issued the Kulmer Handfeste, the founding charter of German settlement in Prussia, a legal document that shaped the region for the next 700 years. Balk died in Würzburg in 1239, leaving behind a network of fortresses and towns that outlived him by centuries. If your name is Balk or Balk, your bloodline may descend from the ministerial warrior families of Saxony who followed Hermann Balk east into the Baltic frontier. Number 14. The name Kerpen belongs to the Rhineland, to a stretch of the Eifel highlands west of the ancient city of Cologne, where a fortified castle called Kerpen once guarded the road to Aachen. From that castle, in the middle of the 12th century, rose a family of Rhenish ministerialis, warrior servants of the Holy Roman Emperor, remembered in the records as the Lords of Kerpen. And from that family came Otto von Kerpen, one of the original 40 knights who founded the Teutonic Order at the Siege of Acre in the Holy Land. He was elected the second ever Grand Master of the Teutonic Knights, most likely in the year 1208. Under his rule, the order fought to be recognized as equal in rank to the older Templars and Hospitallers. Otto is believed to have joined the crusade of Emperor Henry VI in 1197, and he was buried in Acre after his death around 1209. His name still appears in surviving Teutonic charters from the early 13th century, and his family remained active in Rhenish knightly circles for generations afterward. If your name is Kerpen, your bloodline may descend from the founding brotherhood that raised the Teutonic Order out of a battlefield hospital and into the ranks of Europe's ruling military elite. Number 13. The name Feuchtwangen comes from the small Franconian town of the same name, tucked into the rolling green hills of Middle Franconia in what is today Bavaria. And from that town rose one of the most consequential families in the entire Teutonic Order. Conrad von Feuchtwangen served as the 13th Grand Master, elected in 1290. After the crushing fall of Acre in 1291, when the Holy Land was lost to the Mamluk Sultanate forever, it was Conrad who moved the headquarters of the entire order to Venice, saving the Brotherhood from disintegration. And then, in the next generation, came his relative, Siegfried von Feuchtwangen, the 15th Grand Master, who made the decision that would redraw the map of Northern Europe. In 1309, Siegfried moved the seat of the Grand Master out of Venice and permanently into Marienburg Castle on the Vistula River. That single decision turned a wandering, crusading order into a European territorial state that would rule the Baltic coast for 200 years. If your name is Feuchtwangen, your bloodline may carry the memory of the two kinsmen who steered the Teutonic Order out of the ashes of Jerusalem and into the red brick fortresses of Prussia. Number 12. The Wallenrode surname, sometimes spelled Wallenrod, has its ancestral roots deep in Franconia, in a family with a rich knightly tradition. And from that lineage came Conrad von Wallenrod, the 24th Grand Master of the Teutonic Order, elected in 1391. The chroniclers of Marienburg described him as proud, hot-blooded, and at times fearsome, a man who ruled the order at the height of its power over Prussia and Livonia. He was Comteur of Marienburg itself, the greatest brick castle in medieval Europe, before ascending to the office of Kückmeister. So powerful was the memory of his name that 4 centuries later, the Polish national poet Adam Mickiewicz wrote an entire romantic epic titled Conrad Wallenrod, casting the Grand Master as a tragic figure caught between Christian oath and Lithuanian blood. That single literary work made the Wallenrode name legendary across the entire Slavic world. Conrad died inside Marienburg Castle in 1393, still in office, still at the peak of Teutonic influence. If your name is Wallenrode, or Wallenrod, your bloodline may descend from the Franconian knightly families who ruled the Prussian frontier when the order stood as one of the most powerful military states in Christendom. Number 11. The name Kückmeister, sometimes anglicized as Küchmeister, comes from a medieval court title, literally kitchen master, an office once held by a hereditary noble responsible for the household of a prince. That hereditary office turned, over generations, into a hereditary noble surname across the German-speaking lands. And the most famous bearer of the name entered the story of the Teutonic Order in a moment of near collapse. Michael Kückmeister von Sternberg served as the 28th Grand Master, elected in the winter of 1414, only 4 years after the catastrophic Battle of Grunwald had shattered the order in the fields of Tannenberg. Kückmeister took command of a bleeding, indebted, war-torn state, and he pulled it back from the edge. He negotiated the Treaty of Melno with the Kingdom of Poland in 1422, stabilizing the borders after decades of open war. He tried to reform the finances of the order and calm the growing rebellion of the Prussian nobility. His tenure was not glorious, but without him the Teutonic state might have dissolved a full century earlier than it did. If your name is Kückmeister, your bloodline may descend from the hereditary court nobility of the Holy Roman Empire, the families whose ancestors literally served in the households of German dukes and Teutonic Grand Masters. Number 10. The Erlichshausen surname, sometimes written Erlichshausen, traces its origin to the village of Erlichshausen in Swabia, now part of the town of Satteldorf in the modern German state of Baden-Württemberg. From that Swabian village rose an entire branch of lower nobility that would supply 2 consecutive Grand Masters of the Teutonic Order. Conrad von Erlichshausen was elected as the 30th Grand Master in 1441, and his own nephew, Ludwig von Erlichshausen, followed him as the 31st Grand Master in 1450. Together, uncle and nephew ruled the Teutonic state of Prussia for nearly 3 decades. Conrad tried to reform the order and mediate with the rebellious Prussian cities. Ludwig, less fortunate, watched his lands torn apart by the 13 Years' War against Poland, a war that ended with the humiliating loss of half of Prussia, including the great capital castle of Marienburg itself, by the Second Peace of Thorn in 1466. Ludwig died the following year in Nyggsburg. If your name is Erlichshausen or Erlichshausen, your bloodline may carry the memory of a Swabian noble house that ruled a Baltic empire until its walls came down around them. Number 9. The name Rusdorf originates in the Rhineland, specifically from the small settlement of Ruysdorf near the town of Bornheim, just south of Bonn. And from that Rhenish origin came Paul von Rusdorf, the 29th Grand Master of the Teutonic Order, elected in 1422. He ruled for almost 20 years, an unusually long tenure for a Hochmeister, and he inherited an order still bleeding from the wounds of Grunwald and the wars that followed. Rusdorf signed the Treaty of Melno with Poland and Lithuania, formally ending decades of open warfare. He tried to hold together an order under constant financial pressure, with the Prussian estates demanding reform and the knights themselves splitting into political factions inside the walls of Marienburg. His death in 1441 marked the last serious attempt to preserve the medieval structure of the Teutonic state before internal collapse set in. Rusdorf was buried in St. Anne's Chapel at Marienburg Castle, in the mausoleum of the Grand Masters, alongside the men who had built the order into an empire. If your name is Rusdorf, your bloodline may descend from the knightly families of the Rhineland, who carried the Black Cross into the twilight of Teutonic rule in Prussia. Number 8. The Plauen name comes from the town of Plauen in the Vogtland, a region straddling modern Saxony and Thuringia. And from that town emerged one of the most dramatic figures in Teutonic history. Hinrich von Plauen was Comte of Schwetz when the catastrophe of Grunwald struck on the 15th of July in 1410. The Grand Master Ulrich von Jungingen died on the field, along with over 200 of the Order's brother knights. The Polish and Lithuanian army marched east toward the walls of Marienburg, and Hinrich von Plauen, acting entirely on his own authority, gathered 3,000 defenders and threw himself into the capital castle. He held Marienburg from the 26th of July to the 19th of September in 1410 against the largest army the Kingdom of Poland and the Grand Duchy of Lithuania could muster. That siege, which he broke by refusing to surrender, saved the Teutonic state from total dissolution. For that single act, he was elected the 27th Grand Master. Later, factional enemies within the order deposed him and imprisoned him until his death in 1429. He was buried in Malbork, the very castle he had saved with his own hands. If your name is Plauen, your bloodline may descend from the Vogtland nobility that produced the man history remembers as the savior of the Teutonic Order. Before we climb into the top 7, hit that subscribe button. The next 7 surnames rise straight into the ruling families of medieval Europe, bloodlines that wore crowns and stood at the very summit of the Teutonic Order. And the name closest to your own family may still be coming. Number 7. Bassenheim is a Rhineland name, taken from the village of Bassenheim near the ancient city of Koblenz on the Rhine, and from that place emerged a knightly family whose eldest son changed the course of European military history. Heinrich Walpot von Bassenheim was elected the very first Grand Master of the Teutonic Order, most likely between the years 1190 and 1198. Before Walpot, the order had been a temporary field hospital during the Third Crusade at the walls of Acre, staffed by German pilgrims caring for wounded countrymen. Walpot took that hospital tent and transformed it into a chartered military order, recognized by both Pope Innocent III and the Holy Roman Emperor Henry VI. He commissioned the order's first written statutes, its first white mantle marked with the Black Cross, its first structured chapter of Knight Brothers. Every Grand Master who followed him for the next 7 centuries traced his authority back to Walpot's founding decisions. He died in Acre around the year 1200 and was buried near his own hospital. If your name is Bassenheim, your bloodline may descend from the Rhenish knightly family that gave birth to the entire structure of the Teutonic Order itself. Number 6. Trier is the oldest city in Germany, founded by the Romans in the 1st century before Christ under the name Augusta Treverorum. And the surname Trier belongs to patrician families whose noble roots run back to that ancient Rhenish capital. Among them stands Karl Bessart von Trier, elected the 16th Grand Master of the Teutonic Order in the summer of 1311. He was the eldest son of Jakob von Oren, an alderman of the city of Trier, and he came from a patrician household with strong ties to the Archbishopric of Trier itself, one of the 7 prince-electors of the Holy Roman Empire. According to the Crusader Chronicles, Karl was the first Grand Master to begin his reign in Prussia at Marienburg Castle, rather than in Venice. He served during the delicate first decade of Teutonic rule from the Vistula, when the order was still consolidating its grip on the Prussian territory and defending itself against political attacks in Rome and Avignon. Karl died in his home city of Trier in 1324. If your name is Trier, your bloodline may descend from one of the oldest Christianized noble kin groups in the entire German-speaking world. Families whose roots reach back through medieval prince-bishops all the way to imperial Rome. Number 5. Hohenlohe is one of the great princely names of medieval Franconia, taken from the castle of Hohenlohe near the town of Uffenheim, and it belongs to a house so ancient that its recorded lineage stretches almost unbroken from the 12th century into the present day. The Hohenlohe family produced 2 Grand Masters of the Teutonic Order. Hinrich von Hohenlohe served as the 6th Grand Master beginning in 1244 and was so trusted by Emperor Frederick II of the House of Hohenstaufen that he received extensive privileges for the order in Prussia and in the Holy Roman Empire alike. A generation later, Gottfried von Hohenlohe was elected the 14th Grand Master in 1297. Beyond the order itself, the Hohenlohes rose to the rank of Reichsfürsten, imperial princes with a seat and vote in the Reichstag of the Holy Roman Empire, and later became Serene Highnesses of the German aristocracy. Their family estates in the rolling hills of Franconia still bear the Hohenlohe name today. If your name is Hohenlohe, your bloodline may descend from one of the last true princely houses of the medieval German lands, a lineage that stood at the summit of both the Teutonic Order and the Holy Roman Imperial Court. Number 4. The Wettin surname takes its name from Wettin Castle on the Saale River in Saxony-Anhalt, and this house is not merely noble. It is one of the oldest continuously ruling dynasties on the entire European continent. Its recorded ancestry stretches back nearly 1,000 years. The House of Wettin ruled the Margraviate of Meissen, the Electorate of Saxony, and eventually the Kingdom of Saxony until 1918. Its Ernestine and Albertine branches placed rulers on thrones across northern Europe for centuries. Wettin blood ran through the veins of Frederick the Wise, the elector who protected Martin Luther and made the Protestant Reformation possible. Wettin blood also produced Augustus the Strong, King of Poland. And through the Saxe-Coburg and Gotha branch, the House of Wettin took the thrones of Belgium, Portugal, Bulgaria, and finally, Great Britain itself. Queen Victoria's husband, Prince Albert, was a Wettin. Every British monarch since King Edward VII is descended by blood from this family, though the surname was formally changed to Windsor in 1917 during the First World War. If your name is Wettin, your bloodline may carry the Dina of the oldest surviving royal dynasty of Christian Europe, a family whose descendants still wear crowns in the 21st century. Number 3. Jungingen is a village name from Swabia in southwestern Germany, near the town of Hechingen. And from this obscure Swabian corner came the family whose fate is burned into the mythology of Eastern Europe forever. Conrad von Jungingen was elected the 25th Grand Master of the Teutonic Order in 1393, and under his careful rule the order reached its greatest territorial extent, stretching from Pomerania to the borders of Novgorod. But it was his younger brother Ulrich von Jungingen who was elected the 26th Grand Master in 1407, and who marched the entire military strength of the order onto the fields between the villages of Grunwald and Tannenberg on the 15th of July in 1410. According to the annals of Jan Długosz, Ulrich sent 2 swords to the Polish king Jagiello with the message that he and Grand Duke Vytautas could live or die by them. By nightfall, Ulrich lay dead in the melee, alongside the flower of Teutonic knighthood. Grunwald became the largest medieval battle in Central Europe and the beginning of the end for the entire Teutonic state. If your name is Jungingen, your bloodline may descend from the Swabian noble family that stood at the exact moment when the order's 2-century arc of conquest turned toward its long, slow fall. Number 2. Hohenzollern is a name taken from Burg Hohenzollern, a castle perched on a mountain in the Swabian Alps south of the university town of Tübingen, and the first recorded ancestor of the dynasty. Burkhard I of Zollern appears in the annals of the Benedictine monk Berthold of Reichenau in the year 1061. From that mountain fortress rose a family that would eventually rule more of Europe than almost any other Germanic house. In the year 1525, Albert of Brandenburg-Ansbach, a Hohenzollern who was serving as the 37th and final Catholic Grand Master of the Teutonic Order, converted to Lutheranism, secularized the entire Teutonic state, and reforged it into the Duchy of Prussia under his own crown. That single act ended almost 5 centuries of crusading rule and turned the order's lands into the seedbed of the future Kingdom of Prussia. From that seed came the Kingdom of Prussia itself in 1701. Then the unified German Empire in 1871, with Wilhelm I and Wilhelm II, Hohenzollerns both, wearing the imperial crown. The Hohenzollerns also gave a king to Romania. Their coat of arms, a quartered black and silver shield first adopted in 1192, is one of the oldest continuously used in European heraldry. If your name is Hohenzollern, your bloodline may descend from the family that turned a crusading order into an empire. Number 1. Salza is the surname of the single most important man in the entire history of the Teutonic Order. It comes from Bad Langensalza in Thuringia, a region of central Germany where the ministerial dynasty of von Salza served the landgraves of Thuringia. Hermann von Salza, born around 1165 near Dreiburg Castle, was elected the 4th Grand Master of the Teutonic Order in the year 1210. What he accomplished over the next 30 years is nearly unmatched by any medieval statesman. Hermann became the personal friend and diplomatic right hand of Emperor Frederick II of the House of Hohenstaufen, and simultaneously the trusted mediator of Pope Gregory IX in Rome. He was the only man in Christendom capable of speaking for both. In the year 1226, he obtained from Frederick II the Golden Bull of Rimini, the imperial charter that granted the Teutonic Order sovereign rights over the entire territory of Prussia. In 1229, he stood beside Frederick at the coronation of the King of Jerusalem, wearing the white mantle and the black cross. In 1237, he incorporated the Livonian Brothers of the Sword into the Teutonic Order, extending its reach across the entire eastern Baltic frontier. When Hermann died at Salerno in 1239, the direct diplomatic channel between the Holy Roman Empire and the papacy died with him. If your name is Salza, your bloodline may carry the memory of the man who single-handedly forged the Teutonic Order into one of the great powers of medieval Europe. If your name is Salza, tell us in the comments, and tell us which name on this entire list came closest to your own. Then hit subscribe, because the next bloodline we uncover may be the one hiding inside your family name, waiting 1,000 years for you to finally find it.